Hello, everybody. I'm Haktical, and welcome to the speedrun of Hello Kitty's Cube Frenzy for the PlayStation 1. Really excited to be running this game for everybody. Seems the incentive got met for us to play on hard mode, so that's what I'll be doing. Verify that that's what it's set to. We're on hard mode.
And I can confirm this will be a frenzy.
And there will be cubes.
So many cubes.
So, to start with, I'm going to, before we start the timer here, I'm going to go to New Game, and I'm going to show off all of the adorable Hello Kitty sprites you can choose from. There's, these three here are the starting ones that you get to choose from, and as you play through the game, you unlock more for the levels you beat, so I did a playthrough ahead of time, so I've got some more sprites available. They're all super cute. There's a couple more that I don't have unlocked because I haven't done those levels on this file, but I'm gonna go for the snowboarding kitty because the snowboarding kitty is super adorable and I love to snowboard, so that's what I'll be playing as for this run. And yeah, I'm going to get going, so I will select the sprite and that's when the timer will start. I normally start the timer a couple screens sooner, but I wanted to show these off, so we'll get going in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Hello Kitty's Cube Frenzy is sort of a match 3 Tetris-like kind of game, but with a couple of additional elements to it. So, I will be controlling the falling blocks with the D-pad, rotating them with the face button, and also controlling Hello Kitty's movement with the shoulder button. So Hello Kitty can move left or right, can speed up, can slow down. And the goal of each stage is to get all of these collectibles. So this is the biggest difference between normal mode and hard mode, is that in hard mode, you have to collect all of these collectibles in a specific order. Whereas normal mode, you can pick them up in any order. So for the speedrun, some stages are going to end up exactly the same, and some will end up being quite a bit harder because of it. You'll have to do more backtracking that otherwise you wouldn't have to do. The additional difference is that these are the tutorial levels, and in normal mode, it actually gives you like pop-ups and you have to watch some tutorial stuff that's actually skipped in hard. It assumes that if you're playing hard mode, you know how to do all that. So you can see one of the keys to this run is using blocks to move Kitty around. So generally the levels are set up in a way that you're supposed to build yourself to the collectibles and kind of stack up blocks and determine what you need to take out and what you don't. Every level has its own kind of terrain built into it. And for a speedrun standpoint, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to really utilize the ability to jump onto falling blocks and move the blocks with Kitty standing on them. We can move them way faster than Kitty moves herself. And as you can see on levels like this, we cleared that level in no time, right? And if you had to stack blocks up, then it would probably take, a minute to go through that level. So we'll be doing that extensively throughout the run. So that was the tutorial level. That was Floral Resort. Tutorial level is always the same if you execute it the same. The first 3 blocks that fall in the tutorial level are constant every time, but after that they turn random. After the tutorial world, so the ones we're on to now, the falling blocks are going to be random every time, so I'll be adapting to the shapes and colors that I get. A lot of levels will have floors. You can kind of see on this one, but the floors have solid bricks on them that will clear pieces if we end up standing on them. Or if we end up putting blocks on them, sorry. You won't clear out the floor when it's that solid brick, but you will clear the pieces that you drop. And there's a couple of quirks to the mechanics in terms of when you clear a set of blocks, sometimes the blocks above them will fall down, sometimes they won't. You'll also see that there are other characters in the game. So you've got Batsumaru here. He's going to be trying to throw a wrench into our plans. So you can see right there another example of really abusing the mechanics of, I call it surfing, where you put Kitty on a block and you move her around manually. We got both of those pieces without having to build to any of them. That worked really well. But so I was saying about the characters like Batsumaru, they all have their own unique mechanics. There's Batsumaru, there's Pandaba, and then there's a seal-looking guy. I don't really remember his name, honestly. But they all do different things. So Batsumaru, if you make him angry, he will go kick things. And like this. So he kicked that, and then it kind of messed up what I was planning on doing. So we gotta figure it out. This is kind of unlucky. Kitty, get out of there. We're unfortunately getting some pieces that there we go, that I didn't want. So yeah, Batsumaru is probably the biggest nuisance because of him kicking the pieces. But the seal guy is actually another big one because he'll end up just like frozen in place. They react to certain triggers, so Batsumaru will react to dropping blocks, or I think maybe also picking up collectibles near him, kind of like makes him angry. That's when he sprints across the screen. You can drop blocks onto them to also make them angry. That will sometimes motivate them into moving, that'll sometimes motivate them into kicking things. And yeah, it's a lot of times predictable, but there are some times where it's kind of difficult to tell which direction they'll move in before it's too late, before you've placed a block and then they started to kick things. So
I know I get angry when I get kicked too, so.
There are some branching paths in this game, so you can see between every level there's like a world map that I go to. There are, well, I actually don't know the total number of levels in the game. I think there's 13 or 14 total worlds available, and we do 7 of them, maybe 8. So every time there's a branching path comes up, you only need to choose one of the 2 or 3 options. And we'll be choosing the top option, the default option for everyone except for the school diary. So that's mostly because the other levels that we don't choose either have levels that are full of blocks that you need to clear out, or just generally overcomplicated and slower. Standard speedrun stuff. Yeah, so the general story behind this game is that, gotta get that Hello Kitty lore in here, is that Hello Kitty was going on a vacation to the floral resort, and all of a sudden woke up in China, and there were Chinese buildings everywhere, and she smelled some tasty food from a restaurant nearby, and like got to eat some tasty Chinese food that she always wanted, and was wandering around China a little bit. All of a sudden ended up on the beach, and she thought that the beach was the one that she started at her resort, but quickly realized that there was no one around, and she starts to notice that there's some weird things when she kind of was picturing a cute bathing suit, and then realized that she was wearing the cute bathing suit that she was picturing. So there's some funny stuff going on, and she's kind of just at the moment enjoying the being able to imagine what she wants and have it come true. So this level here is one of the, I would say, Well, that worked out okay. This is one of the more random levels in the run because these this last piece here is trapped under blocks that like I can't really easily get to without clearing out stuff on top of them. So it's really random based on what falls and how things clear. That actually went really well. Beach 3 is a big run killer for me. Yeah, so that's the general idea behind the game, and I'll go through the story of each level as we get to it. So she goes through the beach and then imagines herself in the bathing suit, she goes swimming, and then finds herself in school. So this is the one where I said we had to select the middle path. And she has a nice school day. She decides to go downtown, do a little bit of shopping. She gets some ice cream. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. She just enjoys shopping and again starts to. She kind of wants to go home, but just kind of still having fun with, her imagination running wild, as people are prone to do.
Yeah, why would you want to go home when you can do anything your imagination comes up with? Like, please.
I'm more wondering if you can do anything your imagination comes up with. Why did she imagine herself back in school? I mean, is that really where you want to go? Like, you're going to China, you're going to the beach, and then you're going to school? I mean, she was on vacation at the resort.
Depends on, what school it is. It could be like video game school, and then I'm in.
I am all about that. So, most of these levels so far have been pretty much the same between normal and hard. I think the only real big out of place one was there was the Chinese Robe 3. It was the one where you started up on top of a bunch of lines of blocks that were like all one shorter than the line before it. That level is quite a bit more difficult on hards, because on normal you can just kind of get each one sequentially on the way down, whereas on hard you have to fall down and then build your way back up. But we'll be getting to a couple levels here that are going to be quite a bit more difficult on hard. So Diary 3 will be a big one to watch out for. You'll see that in a minute. It's also a big one where Batsmaru can decide to have a little bit of fun with us. This one right here. So normally on normal, you'd pick up that ice cream cone to the left right at the start. But I can't do that on hard because I have to pick up these first. That's bad. It's fine. And so this level you end up kind of having to adapt a lot, and then here's Batsmaru having fun with you by kicking out the entire level from underneath you. So you can avoid this, but there's a little bit of like randomness to it. Kind of just depends on when you pick stuff up versus when it falls. But this actually ended up being pretty decent for a hard mode. Diary 3 stage.
Seems legit. In the spirit of the goose.
Honk.
Honk. No, Batsmaru. Oh, good.
Yeah, so you may notice that some of these levels have holes in the bottom of them, or you can sometimes clear holes in the bottom of them. And you do have lives in this game, so there's a timer for each stage, which obviously will never be an issue for the speedrun. If the timer runs out, then you lose a life, and you have to start the stage over again. And if you fall through the bottom of the floor, then you also lose a life and have to start the stage over again. So if any of the other characters on screen, like Batsmaru, fall through the floor, they just kind of respawn at the top. And there'll be a couple levels where they'll just repeatedly fall. This one's a good one. They'll just kind of keep falling and respawning. So this is another level that on normal mode, you can just kind of pick these all up in order. But on hard, On hard, you've got to kind of backtrack. You have to go all the way across and then all the way back. That's bad. I'm actually just going to restart the stage. I kind of got myself stuck into a position that's going to be difficult to climb out of. It's not really a huge deal. That's also a problem. Sometimes controlling these falling blocks can be a little bit finicky. It's sort of interesting. Sometimes it's really sensitive, and other times you really have to like confidently press the button in order for the input to register. So, you know, it looks kind of easy, but sometimes some of these moves, especially when you're trying to get her to climb on ledges that are above her, can be pretty difficult. Like that one right there, I actually rotated the piece while she was like on it and jumping up, and that can be hard to pull off. So yeah, so this level is Angel Waltz. So she goes from school to all of a sudden imagining herself floating in the sky, and she has a lot of fun with it. She really wishes she could fly in the real world, and she gets to slide on some rainbows and chat with the moon, and really just enjoys flying around. Kind of the deal with this stage. So this game does a really good job with level design, in my opinion. There are a lot of levels where you start near the top, and then you have to, that's fun. And then you have to like work your way down and pick up collectibles along the way. There's other levels where you start at the bottom and have to work your way up. It's quite interesting. Probably more effort than I would have expected for them to put into level design for a game like this. But really fun to play. So the way that I got started playing this, to kind of go with that, is my grandma played a lot of PlayStation games, and she's kind of old now and she can't really play anymore, so she was going to sell them in a yard sale. So I just decided, like, I asked, hey, can I have these games or whatever? And I offered to pay her for them, but and she's like, no, just take them. So I had this stack of PlayStation games, and one day on stream I was looking for just like random like bad memes to play, right? And I saw this game, and I'm like, hey, let's try it. It's a Hello Kitty game. Like, it's probably just a bad, cheaply made video game, I'm under the assumption. And so then I played it and ended up having a ton of fun with it. And so that's how me speedrunning this started. And I am so grateful for it, because this game is a ton of fun. So this is another good example of a level that's much more difficult on hard mode, because on normal you can kind of just go all the way to the top and fall down and pick them all up at once. But on hard mode, you have to get two in the middle and then get the top one. So you can't just start at the top. So we're really going to try to be taking advantage of... that's not going to be good enough. This will.
While you're working on those, can I read out a few donations?
Absolutely.
Fabulous. We have $20 from Profness saying, "Pet the cat." I do believe said cat was pet. So thank you so much for that. We have $10 from He Who Is Pale saying, "Donating for the incentive for the best ARPG firefighting game for the SNES. Not sure which one that is, but I'm sure it's amazing." And we just had a $30 donation from Anonymous. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you all for the donations. Yeah, so we got 2 stages left. We're on to Wedding March. So after Hello Kitty has fun being an angel for a while, she closes her eyes and starts imagining, and wakes up with a beautiful wedding dress in front of her. And, you know, she wonders to herself, is this her dream? Is her dream to to wear that beautiful dress one day. And at the moment, she's getting her chance. So this stage here can be okay, we got it. Can be a little bit difficult. So it's really easy to climb up there and fall down that bottle shape, but you can only really get single blocks down there. And if you get lucky, you get that single block falling right as you're going down there, and you can kind of maneuver Hello Kitty around, and you don't have to deal with the randomness of the other characters. But if you get unlucky, then you have to kind of just YOLO. You jump down there and you hope to climb on them to take the pieces out, or to grab the collectibles, I mean. And thankfully it all kind of went fine. This is another stage of beautiful randomness where you kind of have to just like, if you don't get the right pieces, you kind of just have to drop yourself into a corner and hope you can climb out of it. Which we did, but now we have to do it again. And Betsmaru can also wreak some havoc on this stage if he starts kicking things around, but we're in pretty good shape now. So I am playing this game. So as I said, it's a PlayStation 1 game. I'm playing it on my PlayStation 3. So this run will actually be a little bit slower than it would be if I were playing it normally. I normally run it on a PlayStation 2 with fast disk speed, but this game does a lot of 240p to 480i switching, and it's actually kind of annoying to capture because of it, and it desyncs a lot. So for the sake of the marathon, I'm playing it on the PS3 for a little bit smoother viewing experience and playing experience, honestly. And so my estimates are that this version is probably about 2 minutes, 1.5 to 2 minutes slower than if I were playing it on the PS2 with fast disk speed. But this run is going really well so far. Everything's been super cooperative in terms of RNG, and really no hiccups to speak of. So that's the end of Wedding March. Already, we're going on to the final stage. So, as I showed at the beginning, there's a bunch of different kitty sprites, and every time you beat a world here, you unlock one of those sprites. So, I don't have the ones from the branching paths that I don't do in the speedrun, but normally if you were playing for the first time, you'd get a sprite after each one, and it doesn't tell you that until you go in to start a new game off the same save file, or without turning the console off. So, Snow Mountain. This is the last stage. It's the most dangerous of the stages. A lot of them have... Snow Mountain 1 and 2 both have ways that you can kind of easily die. So, you can see that there are... sort of unfortunate. Every section here has blocks that you can fall through if you accidentally clear something out while you're standing on it. I have died on here quite a few times trying to go quickly. Sometimes you end up using pieces of, like this, you've got a falling yellow block onto falling yellow blocks, and if that had taken out the spot beneath that collectible before Kitty grabbed it, then that would have been a death. And then Snow Mountain 2 here is, in my opinion, the hardest stage of the game. There's a lot of diagonal lines of blocks, and especially in hard mode, you have to collect them in a very awkward order, and it's really just challenging to deal with this stage. So I'm going to focus for a moment. If you have any donations or even just like shout-outs or plugs, now's probably a really great time.
Yeah, I can definitely check and see what we've got here. I can definitely pump, but we don't have any donation incentives for the next few runs. But the runs that we have left that coming up that do have donation incentives are quite a bit away from their goals. So we have Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD, the Level 1 Fight Club. We need a total of $150 in order to meet that goal, and we're currently at 67. After that, we have Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, the Fight Arrow Knight incentive. So I believe that's the super boss or a super boss in that game. And we have nothing currently and need $150 to do that. So those are both going to be really great things to see. On the same topic of Lightning Returns, we also have some bid wars. You can name the Angel of Valhalla, who's currently named Valkyrie, at $5. So anything more than $5 can trump that name. We can choose a color for the Midnight Mauve garb. Currently in the lead, the only color with any donations is orange, which nobody wants orange. Nobody. It's at $10. So I think we can get that to one of the cooler colors like black, blue, green, purple, red, white, or even yellow. So we'll see if we can match those. And also those snowmen are super cute. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so this is the last stage of the game. It's actually going extremely well. There's a lot of randomness with there are required we didn't grab that. That's fine. There are a lot of required usages of yellow blocks in the stage, and if you end up just getting stuck, like getting a bunch of non-yellow pieces in a row, then there's kind of nothing you can do about it. So after the score screen, the screen will flash white when the credits start, and that will be time. So just a few seconds from here, and then we'll see the ending cutscene. That's time, 25:34.
Nice. What's your PB for this run?
My PB for this run is, I think it's 25:05-ish, and that's with fastest speed on a PS2. So this was actually probably a better run than my PB, a little bit slower because the PS3 loads much slower.
Right, absolutely.
But
Well, GG.
thank you. So we got a short little ending cutscene, and there's just there's one thing I'll show real quick. So I was explaining the story of the game as I went, and obviously you could see that there wasn't really any story. We gotta just fast forward to the credits real quick, but I just want to show where all that comes from because it's super adorable. Once you beat the game, it unlocks a picture book mode, so you can go back through, and just like the sprites, it unlocks a section of picture book for each level you complete, including the branching paths. And that picture book mode, I won't go through all of it, but just show a few screens off of it. Gives you some explanation of story, it gives you some cool little pictures, and it's kind of just super adorable. I've got a highlight on my stream of me reading through it once. I think the very first time I played the game. So once we just get back through this score screen, I need to save. Drop us back to the main menu here. And then we get this picture book mode. So this wouldn't be available here normally if you were starting a new game. And this is what you get. You get the some pictures of Hello Kitty. You get some descriptions about her being on vacation, enjoying herself at the beach resort. Sometimes there's different scenes within a world. You can kind of go through each world. She's in China. She's at the beach. This is where she imagines herself in that cute little swimsuit that she was talking about. So, yeah, this is kind of how the story of the game gets told, is through this picture book mode. I think that angel view here is super adorable. This whole angel scene is really cute. So, she slides on some rainbows, just like having a ton of fun. She chats with the moon. And then imagines herself in the wedding dress. this one here. It's also the sprite that we end up unlocking. And then she starts snowboarding. The idea with the snowboarding is that she does a bunch of radical tricks, they're described as. Radical stunts, sorry. And then ends up flying off the edge at full speed and waking back up in the resort that she started in. And then once you go through the picture book, it'll replay the ending scene. So that's the story of the game, and obviously it'll vary a little bit based on the path you take through the game. There's also an extra mode available, which is a bunch of harder levels that I think they're available right from the start. You can also play this game co-op, so you can play it with 2 players. I tried a 2-player 1 controller run once. That was a disaster, but yeah, super fun game. I recommend you checking it out if you like Hello Kitty and puzzle games. And yeah, that's it for the run. Thank you very much for letting me run this game. And Dragon Warrior Randomizer is up next, I think. So stick around and check that out.
Yeah, it's a 4-player race. It's going to be between Demarine, Sparkover, Silverfire, and special non-Valkyrie guest Yvonne. So definitely keep up your hype for that. It's going to be an excellent run. We'll see you for that soon.